Welcome to the Lovestead.
Hello lovebirds, welcome to another reading vlog. It's Monday, so I want to share with you my reading plans for this week. I'm wondering if there's a glare on my glasses. Let me take them off. If you watched last week's vlog, you know I'm not great at sticking with my reading plans. I get derailed pretty easily, but this I won't say is a TBR. It's more like the books that I'm hoping to get to this week, and we'll see what happens. First, I'm in the middle of The Maidens by Michaelides, and I took the dust jacket off. I always take the dust jacket off my hardcovers when I read them. Anybody else do that? But it is The Maidens. Here, I can show you. The Maidens. Even has the Book of the Month symbol on it. I'm on page, I guess I'm more than halfway through. I'm on page 242. So I'll probably be able to finish this tonight. If not tonight, then definitely tomorrow. I'm doing this as a buddy read with James from James's Space and Liz from Reading Riley. And so far I'm very much enjoying this book. I really like the magical realism in it, the mythology that's tied in. I don't yet have a firm determination on who I think the murderer is. I'm leaning towards two possibilities. So there's a cast of characters that could potentially be the murderer. And there's two that I just can't decide between quite yet. I will try to pick one before I finish the book because I like to try to predict and figure out the mystery. But I have a feeling this is one that I'm going to get very wrong. Next, I have been reading Ace by Angela Chen, What Asexuality Reveals About Desire, Society, and the Meaning of Sex. I started this last week as part of the Queer Lit Readathon before my reading plans got derailed. I am 58 pages in, and I would really like to finish this book this week. It's not a long book. I should be able to finish it this week. So after I read The Maidens, I'm going to try to finish this one. I am also currently reading Mr. Monk Goes to the Firehouse by Lee Goldberg. That is the Killing Time with Cozy's June pick for their book club book. I'm listening to that on audiobook, and I've only listened to like 30 minutes of it so far, so I'm not very far into it. May or may not get that done this week. Other books that I would like to pick up at some point this week. I talked about this one last week as well, How to Find a Princess by Alyssa Cole. This is an Anastasia retelling, and it is a sapphic romance. So I wanted to read this last week as part of the Queer Lit Readathon before my reading got really derailed. And I got it from my library. I was like on the hold list for 3 months in advance before it came out because I wanted to be the first one to get my hands on it. And I would really like to at least start it this week so that I can finish it before I have to return it to the library. Like, wouldn't that be something? So this is high up there on my list of priorities. I also would like to get to The Chance to Fly by Ali Stroker. This is part of my disability readathon, one of my picks for the disability readathon for the prompt on read a book about someone using a mobility device like a wheelchair. And the main character in this book does use a wheelchair. It was written by Ali Stroker, who is the Tony Award winner, and she's the first Broadway actress to use a wheelchair. And she actually was also the first Tony Award winner to use a wheelchair. So it's an own voices book, and I really want to get to it. I also need to get to it before I have to take it back to the library. So, I might have gotten myself into a bit of a reading pickle with library due dates right now. And then another book that I would like to get to this week is Ghochar by Vivek Schambhag. And this is a story about a family. Let me see here. This is a short book about a family, and the uncle in the family founds a spice company that becomes really successful and moves the family into a new economic bracket in India. It is a work in translation. It was translated by Srinath Perur, and it is a fairly short little book, and I think I could read this in one sitting if I just have time to do that. Thankfully, this is one that I bought, not one from the library, so I really don't have a deadline on when I need to get this read. But, you know, should I be able to get through these other 4 books, I'd really like to pick this up and get through it. It is one of the books that I picked out for the Lit with Indian Lit readathon. Yeah. So that's my reading TBR pile of possibilities for this week's reading vlog. Oh boy, wish me luck, right? This is today's small but mighty garden harvest. Happy Tuesday, just popping in here on my lunch break to update you on my reading so far. We're having SpaghettiOs and vegan hot dogs for lunch. Sometimes I have the appetite of a 12-year-old. Okay. First, I was listening to Mr. Monk Goes to the Firehouse by Lee Goldberg on audiobook. This was part of the Killing Time with Cozy's June book club selection, and I DNF'd it because the murder that takes place is the murder of a firehouse dog. Could not handle it, especially with the recent passing of my own dog. So I DNF'd that one yesterday. And then I finished The Maidens by Michaelides, and I really enjoyed it. I did solve the mystery, sort of. Like, I figured out who did it, but not the twist around who did it or the motive for why they did it. So that was fun. It was a fun little twist at the end. This has all of the high notes that I need for a good dark academia. So it's gothic. It's set at an Ivy League school, Cambridge, right? It is full of magical realism that kind of forces you to walk that fine line between what is based in reality and what's beyond the veil. It incorporates some mythology into it. It has really ambiguous characters. There's pretty good tension that builds up. And even the main character, you can't completely trust her perspective. So I gave this book 4 stars out of 5. Next, I am going to pick up The Chance to Fly. I need to read this before it's due back to the library. Let me read you the synopsis here. 13-year-old Nat Beacon loves a lot of things. Her dog Warbucks, her best friend Chloe, and competing on her wheelchair racing team, the Zoomers, to name a few. But there's one thing she's absolutely obsessed with: musicals. From Hamilton to Les Miserables, there's not a cast album she hasn't memorized and belted along to. She's never actually been in a musical, though, or even seen an actor who uses a wheelchair for mobility on stage. Would someone like Nat ever get cast? But when Nat's family moves from California to New Jersey, Nat stumbles upon auditions for a summer production of Wicked, one of her favorite musicals ever, and she gets into the ensemble. The other cast members are super cool and inclusive, well, most of them, especially Malik, the male lead and cutest boy Nat's ever seen. But when things go awry a week before opening night, will Nat be able to cast her fears and insecurities aside and defy gravity in every sense of the song title? This was written by Ali Stroker and Stacy Davidowitz. Ali Stroker is a Tony Award-winning actress who is the first actress to use a wheelchair on Broadway. And I am excited to get into this. I am reading this as part of my disability readathon TBR. Late to the party, but it's going to get done. So I do plan on starting this tonight. And then the Dark Academics Book Club is reading The Goldfinch by Donna, Tartt, June and July. So I had read about half of this book in the past and I stopped. And I'm going to try it on audiobook this time and see if it goes a little better for me. So I did start listening to that on audiobook while I'm doing just some administrative things for work here today. That is what I'm reading and working on so far. here on this Friday if I don't kick my camera tripod over. Last night I finished The Chance to Fly by Ali Stroker and Stacy Davidowitz and absolutely loved it. I cried. I don't cry often at books. The only other book I've cried at this year has been... maybe there were a couple that I cried at this year. Yeah, there were two. So I cried reading We Are Not From Here by Ginny Torres Sanchez, and I cried reading How to Be Ace by Rebecca Burgess. I cried reading this one, and it's because there are certain scenes in here that just hit me. Being a person with a disability myself, it just addresses issues around disability and systemic ableism so well. And the transformation that Nat goes through in this is incredible and powerful, and it's such a good book. And I would suggest, if you have kids that are of the middle grade age, definitely put this on their bookshelf, because it's an important one, just like George is an important one for kids to read, because of the perspective that it offers the reader about what it is like to live, in Nat's case, using a wheelchair, or in George's case, the process of coming out as transgender. And like, the books are such powerful tools to shape the little humans in our lives, and so the more we can get these kind of books in front of them, the better. I absolutely love this book. I highly recommend it. I mean, it's a middle grade. It's gonna read like a middle grade. Go into it knowing that. But it's a powerful middle grade, and I gave it 5 stars out of 5. Today I ran some errands with my boyfriend because this week I feel like I've just been in my office morning, noon, and night working. And I was starting to feel like a robotic slave to a capitalist system. So I took the afternoon off and we ran some errands. I needed to get a new dog bed for my dog Maggie. She sleeps in our hallway closet, and it's not because I make her sleep there. She chooses to sleep there. I have tried several times to get her to sleep on the bed with me, and she doesn't want to. So she prefers to sleep in the hallway closet, and so I got her a nice bed for her hallway closet spot, because she's got a bed downstairs, she's got a bed in my office, and now she's got a bed in her nighttime sleepy time spot. And all the beds that they have are big enough for her and Orlando, but Orlando usually prefers to be with me, like on the couch or on the bed or wherever we are, and Maggie prefers to sleep in the dog beds. So now I'm going to start this one now and hopefully get through it over the weekend. How to Find a Princess by Alyssa Cole. Let me read you the dust jacket. I guess it's not dust jacket. Let me read you the book description of this one. So, Makita Hicks has lost her job and her girlfriend in one fell swoop. The last thing she's in the mood for is to rehash the story of her grandmother's infamous summer fling with a runaway prince from Iberania, or the investigator from the World Federation of Monarchists tasks with searching for Iberania's missing heir. Yet when Besnaria Chevalier crashes into her life, the sleek and sexy investigator exudes exactly the kind of chaos that organized and efficient Makeda finds irresistible. Even if Bez is determined to drag her into a world of royal duty Makeda wants nothing to do with. When a threat to her grandmother's livelihood pushes Makeda to agree to return to Iberina, Bez takes her on a transatlantic adventure with a crew of lovable weirdos, a fake marriage, and one-bed hijinks on the high seas. When they finally make it to Iberina, they realize there's more at stake than just cash and crown, and Makeda must learn what it means to fight for what she desires and not what she feels bound to by duty. This checks a lot of boxes for me for my trope preferences. The cozy mystery I picked out is Romeo and Juliet. And it's by Kathy Daly. So this is a cozy mystery, and it's set on a tropical island in, get this, in a bookstore, coffee bar / cat cafe. When do I move in? Those are my reading plans for the weekend. It's Monday afternoon, so I'm trying to get this vlog wrapped up so that I can start the next one. So reading update, I decided to DNF how to find a princess. Oh, my nails match. Was not planned, but there it is. I really wanted to like this book. It checked so many boxes for me of different things that I love in books, but something about the tone and style of this fell flat for me. As I was reading it, I felt like I was reading an inside joke that I wasn't privy to. Like there was some sort of inside joke happening and I didn't have access to what the joke is. Like I don't understand the joke. And so I found myself just reading it really fast just so I could finish it, and not because I was enjoying the book, not because I was attached to the characters or enjoying the storyline. This was like, you really had to suspend some disbelief in order to get on board with this story. It was so far from reality, and I think that I like my romances based a bit more in reality than this one is. A bit less tongue-in-cheek and meta joke kind of style. Like, I don't know, something about this just wasn't working for me, and I'm really disappointed because it was one of my most anticipated books of the year, but I did end up DNFing it. Okay, let's go through what I read this week just to recap. So first, I finished up The Maidens by Michaelides. I really enjoyed that one. Gave it 4 stars out of 5. I started listening to The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt on audiobook. This is a reread for me. I DNF'd that one last year. And this week I got to the part in the audiobook where it went through everything that I read the first time that I read it. And now I'm starting to get into newer stuff. I'm liking this a lot better on audiobook, so that's good. I read and finished The Chance to Fly by Ali Stroker and Stacy Davidowitz. Absolutely loved it. One of my favorite books of the year. 5 stars out of 5. I DNF'd Monk by Lee. I DNF'd Mr. Monk Goes to the Firehouse by Lee Goldberg because I was picking up on some misogynistic tones, and the victim who dies in that book is a dog, and I just couldn't handle that, so I DNF'd that one. And I also DNF'd How to Find a Princess by Alyssa Cole for all the reasons I just outlined. And then I continued to make progress on Ace by Angela Chen. I'm about 90 pages in. And the last chapter I read was about asexuality and disability, and it was fantastic. This book is so good. And I really do think it's going to end up a 5-star read for me whenever I'm able to get it finished. It's taking me a lot longer than I thought because like I'm having to read it in little chunks and just digest the information because there's so much good important information in here, but it's also fairly complex, and so it takes a minute to kind of digest it and make sense of it. So it's slow going, but it's a really good book. that's what I read this week. Hopefully you enjoyed spending some time with me, and until next time, make sure that you continue to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.